Some thoughts on the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 base model. But first, let's take it for a little dance. What's happening, YouTube? Just so you know, we are on a safe range, and now this gun is empty and safe. So, some thoughts on the Bodyguard 2.0. A friend of mine recently just went and bought one of these, and we've been texting back and forth all day about it. Actually, they're really excited about it, and though I could share this information just with them a text message, I figured why not just do a video about it, and some other people could benefit from this information. Or maybe tell me in the comment section if they've had a different experience. So we're going to talk about some quirks with the Bodyguard 2.0 that you may be getting into if you're considering this gun. Another cool thing too is, since this friend of mine went and bought this gun, we can be gun buddies again, because I used to carry a P365 with a Wilson Combat grip module, and so did they, but I went back to Glock in 2023. So we could be gun buddies again. So I figured I'd share this to let them know what they're getting into. So I brought my handy dandy Sojourn Gear notebook out here with some notes, although I can usually do these from memory, but sometimes you just want an excuse to use your kit, right? So let's go over some quirks of this Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. Now, some initial thoughts too, that they did just come out with the Performance Center, which has a ported barrel and a little bit longer. And in discussion, in consideration of that, me and this friend both concluded that we would rather prefer the base model, because though the ports would be cool to cut down on felt recoil, that added length kind of detracts from the purpose of getting this to begin with, and that it is such a tiny gun. So 380 ACP, of course. You know, different people have different opinions on the efficacy of that caliber, but that's not the point of this video. The point is to talk about the Bodyguard 2.0. Now, we're up to maybe 300 rounds through this, mostly ball, jacketed hollow point, but we sent quite a few magazines, mostly ball, but we sent a few magazines of jacketed hollow point down there too, because the thing about the Bodyguard 2.0 is it can be finicky about ammo. There's been lots of reports of various ammos, particularly ones with kind of the flat front of the bullet face or bullet. And so it tends to prefer the more round ones. At least I've had no issues whatsoever, not one malfunction in almost 300 rounds with any of the ammo. And we've shot this Remington and a couple different other defensive ammos that I'll put pictures of so you can know what they are. But that is one of the quirks, is that it can be finicky about ammunition. I haven't personally had any issues, but lots of other reports that other people have. Another thing too is the sights. The sights aren't great. I like the fact that the front sight is tritium and has a night sight. I prefer a night sight on my guns, so if I sit on my nightstand at night and the power goes out or it's pitch black, I can find it quickly upon hearing a bump in the night. But the rear U notch sights are rough. I don't know if you can see those, but they're very, very rough. You see that? It's a big hole there, big gap, and they're blacked out, and they're not very good. Which leads to the second, or rather the next quirk, is that it's not the most accurate. Now, if you're expecting a lot of accuracy out of a 380 ACP pocket gun, you might have been a little off to begin with. But I can say I was out here with my Glock 19, putting rounds through the same hole over and over again, and then I switched to this at the same distance, and the group widened up quite a bit within this circle here. So accuracy isn't the greatest, but being that this is really for more of a deep pocket carry, get off me kind of, maybe even a backup situation, depending on your context, these are just ideas. I'm not teaching, I'm just telling. So the accuracy and, reporting on my experience thus far. Another quirk, it's tight. It's a tight fit. Everything about this thing is tight. from getting the bullets in the magazines initially. We're going to talk more about that here in a minute, about getting the amount of bullets in the magazine, but just everything about it, racking the slide to locking the slide back to releasing the slide release. It's just all very tight at first. It does seem to ease up through time. And I can tell you, after manipulating, holding, and cycling 4 to 5 different ones of these with manual safeties, the manual safety is super tight at first. As a matter of fact, there was one that was so tight, nobody could even get it to flick. They had to take it in the back, put some oil on it, and then force it back and forth for it to loosen up. So the manual safeties are rough, and they're tiny, and they're little, and depending on the size of your thumb, it can be a little challenging to manipulate. And that goes the same with for the slide release as well, depending on the size of your hands. Very tight fit. And now we're going to talk about that in regards to the magazines. Now, the Bodyguard comes with 2 magazines, one 10 rounder and one 12 rounder. They're both tight at first. I was able to get the 10 rounds in the 10 rounder at first, but the very initial loading of the 12 rounder, I could only get 11 rounds in, which is better than most, because I've seen at least 2 or 3 videos, some by even big gun tubers like Such, who said they could only get 10 in the 12 rounder. I don't know if I'm just stronger than Such or he had a tougher magazine, but I only could get 11 rounds in this the first 2 times I load it. Third time I was able to get the 12th round in. Still tight, but you know. Now, on camera, for demonstration purposes, I have a brand new Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 12-round magazine. So we're gonna load this for the first time, and I'm gonna show you just how tight this is. So bear with me one moment. So again, this is the 12-round magazine. Really no issues with the 10, other than it's a little tight, but we got it in. So this is the Remington 95 grain ball ammo. So let's see, tight on the first one. 3, 4. I know this is a little tedious for video work, but the few of you that have stuck with me this far are getting maybe some vital free information. I am not a sponsored YouTube channel. I don't get any of this stuff to review. I pay for everything with my own money. And so you can see it's already getting tight. Now, I'm not the strongest man in the world, but I wouldn't consider myself the weakest. And this is darn tight. So that's 11. I think this one's actually a little looser than the last one. The last one, once I got 11, and you couldn't even press that 11th one down. Yeah. Why bother? Let's shoot it and then load it a couple more times. I do apologize for sweating profusely, but it is Florida and it's hot as a butt down here. So let's see how this magazine does. There you go. So that is the Quirks thus far. Now I'm going to share with you probably my biggest disappointment. Now don't get me wrong, I do not regret this gun. I love this gun so far. I think it's an excellent little pocket pistol. But one of the things that did annoy me, which is a thing that used to annoy me about SIGs, is that I've had this approximately 3 weeks and it's already rusting right here. Just the tip, but it's rusting. Now, granted, I am a sweaty dude. I work out a lot. You know, I run kind of hot. It's hot as hell. I mean, it's hot as a butt down here. So I sweat a lot. This gets soaked. I pulled it out of my holster and it's literally wet half the time. So there's that. So basic maintenance, wiping it down day to day, maybe with a rag, some oil may be required, especially if you're in a hot, humid environment like Florida. But anyway, just some initial thoughts on the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. This isn't my first video on this, but I'm just kind of reporting my experience as I go. So with that, be sure to give me a like and subscribe. So I got a lot of throttling on this channel. A lot of people don't necessarily get it fed into their algorithm. So be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're not, and we'll see you on the next one. Shalom.